From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neil McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Monday, July 29th edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neil McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. Podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon. If you're coming into town, know to stop on by at Highway 6. Get your daiquiri, $3.99 for the cheapest, as big as 44 ounces if you so wish. And let them take care of lunch and dinner. For lunch, it's the $4.99 lunch specials with 2 sides bread and a 32-ounce drink. For dinner, you can pick up the ribs, call ahead, they'll be wrapped up and ready to go for you, and you get good gas prices with the mobile rewards program, the Speed Pass Plus app, and much more there at the Oxford Exxon. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. You get a quote, and you can let that quote be a starting point for you moving forward, or you can do what I've done or what so many others have done, and that's get into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale, everything at Clark Ford. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you, 662-257-1900.
Ole Miss football practice, or at least the media opportunities, begin on Thursday. We've got media day that afternoon, so we'll start having coverage to you and actually talking to people then. And then it's going to be kind of somewhat locked down. However, again, that gets it started. Camp does begin there around the first day of August, so we're closing in. Summer pretty much over as football is here from a practice standpoint. We're going to go through a few of the questions from Fairway Friday that we didn't get to on Friday because we kind of got off on that one topic or those two topics regarding the KAs and Ole Miss and just kind of everything going on. So I do want to go through those a little bit. And for the first one, it's dovetailing into the news over the weekend. The Cardinals released Robert Nkemdiche, the former first-round pick, obviously the former number one player in the country, out of Grayson, who signed with Ole Miss. And the question, bigger bust, Treadwell or Nkemdiche? And frankly, Neil, you could take it a couple different ways because Treadwell was never the same player after that injury against Auburn. So from a physical standpoint, he's just had limitations. Robert, always the freak physically. It was just a matter of getting his head right, caring, and actually wanting to be productive at the NFL level.
Yeah. So there's two takes on Robert Nkemdiche that are out there among football people. And you have to decide which one you believe and which one meets your agenda. Not you, Chase, but just you out. One is that Robert really just never loved football very much. And to be a great football player, you have to love football. You have to be the guy that when you get hurt, all you can think about is getting back. That's it. That's all that it consumes you. So that's one. And then two is that Robert would have been much better off out of high school had he gone somewhere else, anywhere else where his brother wasn't there.
The irony, since he had no choice but to go anywhere that his brother was, or vice versa.
Personally, I think there's some truth in both, and I think there's some in both. Very few people love one thing so much that it's all they do. I mean, I love journalism. I'm not obsessed with it. There are people that are in banking that love banking. They're not obsessed with it. They're doctors. They love medicine, but they love other things too. So I find it difficult that part of it. And then at some point, while there's no doubt that Denzel was a negative impact on Robert's career, no question, at some point, it's not Denzel's fault anymore.
No, you're your own person, especially at this point. You're in charge of your own actions. And even the first part, I get that maybe he was not obsessed with football, but he didn't even do the minimum necessary. That's the part that gets me. Those people that we were talking about with doctors and bankers and journalists and everybody, they still do their job. Robert didn't do his job in the NFL. He didn't put in the time necessary to be competent.
Yeah.
He just didn't.
I mean, Robert sort of showed the NFL. Frankly, I don't particularly feel bad for the Cardinals. As a rule, I try never to feel bad for Cardinals. But Robert kind of told him at the end of his Ole Miss career, I'm not particularly interested in this. And they drafted him anyway.
Yeah, that's on them.
I mean, I think that's fair. The end of Robert's Ole Miss career was a freaking disaster. And the NFL drafted him anyway. So, you know.
I have sympathy for Laquan. I have a hard time getting sympathy for Robert.
Yeah, Laquan suffered a severe injury. It happened right in front of me. I saw it. We've all seen the replay.
Yeah.
It was bad. And I just don't know that you ever really recover.
That's one of those sports moments that we'll always remember where we were, what we were doing, because Jeffrey's the one that, I believe he's the one that showed it to Jill, because she was standing beside us because it was toward the end of the game right there. I think we were all sort of in a cluster. If you were standing by us, I know I was by Jeffrey. I don't recall where you were.
Yeah, I don't think I was by y'all. I was literally down there by the goalpost.
Yeah, no, we were on the sidelines. We were even with it, but on the side, on the Ole Miss sideline.
Yeah, I can't remember who I was with, but I knew he'd broken it. And he's never been the same player. And how much of that is because of that? It's hard for me to believe that didn't play any role in his NFL struggles. His margin for error as an NFL receiver was always going to be thin because he doesn't have elite speed. So when he lost some of his agility and athleticism, and he absolutely did, that affected his ability to be a pro. And then I'm not sure he got in the very best situation in the world in Minnesota. And then Laquan could be kind of a brooder too. And I suspect that he did some of that in the NFL, and that typically doesn't go over well. So for both of them, I mean, I guess they're both NFL bust. Robert's deal is much more complex and complicated than Laquan's. Laquan did work his ass off to get back. When Robert tore his ACL, very clearly, he just said, I'm going to go do some other stuff, because he doesn't even have the physique of an athlete right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was, what's his name? Kingsbury was asked about it a couple, right before he was released at a press conference, and he essentially said he's not in shape, and that's all we're going to say about that right now, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he got into a fight with a pizza and donut store and lost.
Okay.
I mean, he looks like he gained 50 pounds.
No, I know.
Of just flab.
Did nothing to get into football shape.
I mean, he looks like he hasn't exercised in months. He looks soft. I mean, he looks nothing like what he looked like when he came to Ole Miss. Nothing. Physically.
No, because, I mean, good grief.
You know, and people say, well, would he have been better off going to Clemson or Alabama or someplace like that? Maybe. I don't know. Hugh Freeze let Robert get away with a lot because he was Robert.
Yeah. All the way through.
When Denzel had problems, and they knew Denzel had problems, and they wanted to send Denzel off, and Denzel threatened to quit and basically said if he quit, Robert would quit with him, they should have called his bluff. And I get that's Monday morning quarterbacking, literally on a Monday morning, but it's true. Because from that point forward, it was a total disaster.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Who has most receiving yards for Ole Miss this year? I'm going to go with Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's him. If you told me I couldn't guess him just based on the stuff I hear out of the program, I might say Jonathan Mingo.
I was wondering if you're going there, or if you just because he's back and he has somewhat proven, you try Braylon Sanders or maybe even a Drummond who's got a little experience.
You know me with JUCOs.
Yeah.
They got to prove it. And look, I like Drummond. He looks like a good player, but I got to see it. I got to see that day, play in, play out, series in, series out, how you handle adversity. Do you keep working when it gets tough? The stuff that typically undermines JUCOs in year one. I got to see him overcome that. Sanders would have a shot. I just hear a lot of buzz about Mingo, but I would absolutely take Elijah Moore.
He's wearing number 1, isn't he?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so. All right, how many SEC head coaching changes do you predict in the SEC at the end of the year? Well, or during the year. We'll go through. Probably not many. I mean, last year there was no turnover, right? 0, correct?
Yeah, none. I think there's 2 this year.
All right, we got, obviously, Saban, no. Fisher, no. Mullen, no. Gus Malzahn, yes.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pruitt, no. Barring something crazy. Kirby, no. Stoops, nope. Morris, nope. Orgeron, I don't really see a way.
No, I think they're going to win enough to hang on at least for a little while longer.
Muschamp, Luke, Mason, Moorhead, Odom.
No on Muschamp. I think he's fine. No on Luke. I just don't see it. Odom, yeah.
Odom, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. And then who's the other one?
Moorhead and Mason.
Oh. No, what did I say? Odom? I didn't mean Odom. Odom's fine.
That would shock me.
Odom's fine. Mason's in trouble. And I think Moorhead's fine. I mean, where are they going?
This feels like finally the end for Derek Mason.
Yeah, I think so.
After all the whatever and all the close calls and all the beating Ole Miss and Tennessee to save his job, this feels like it.
Well, he doesn't get Ole Miss at the end. He gets Ole Miss in Oxford earlier, and I think Ole Miss wins that game. And then at the end, it just feels like Tennessee's going to get that one. And if they do, he doesn't have anything to salvage it. A couple of years ago, he was done, and then he whipped Ole Miss and whipped Tennessee, and bang, he survives. I just don't think he has that scenario waiting for him. And the rest of the East is better. I mean, Kentucky's a solid program. Missouri's good. Florida's good. Georgia's elite. South Carolina's solid. There's just not many wins for Vanderbilt to go get. And then at the end of that, I don't know what kind of job that is for somebody. It's easily, I mean, it's far and away the worst job in the SEC.
Do you think the probability of the SEC making it to 16 teams is equal, greater, or lesser than it was in 2012 when they only went to 14 with A&M and Mizzou?
Talking about when all the Grant and Wright stuff come up?
Yeah, point being, is it still a greater possibility now than maybe they should have just done it then, and it is extinguished some since then?
They probably could have done it then. I still think it happens. I've always thought it would happen. They go to 16 and have 2 8-team divisions and probably add a league game. We're talking, it's 2019. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 years from now. But, yeah, I still think it happens.
With the changing world, this is an interesting question. With the changing world of cable versus cutting the cord, do you think the expansion will still focus on expanding the footprint to new states, or is the priority now just to add quality programs?
Oh, that's a good question.
My mind says the latter. My mind says you're better off getting good programs because everybody's going to watch them. I mean, yeah, but there are not more people today joining cable and satulites than there are cutting the cord. It's going the other way. So I don't know that your location matters.
Here's the flip side of that.
Yep.
And you're generally right. Florida does not want Florida State in the league. They'll fight them tooth and nail. Clemson doesn't want to join the league. Why would they? But if they did, South Carolina wants no part of them in the league. Neither would Georgia or Auburn or a lot of schools. At this point, I don't think Texas A&M would want Texas in the league. The problem with expanding within the footprint is that products within the footprint aren't going to want anyone impeding on their territory.
So you're trying to do both at the same time, essentially, because that's what's more possible.
Yeah, I mean, Texas A&M's not going to fight Oklahoma the way they would fight Texas.
And I guess the better way to put this here is that it's no longer necessary for the Big Ten to do, and now, frankly, I'd argue it wasn't necessary then, it was a screw-up. But it wasn't necessary what they did then, which was, hey, let's go grab Maryland and Rutgers just to pull somebody in. You know what I mean? Like, that is stupid now. there's no reason to grab the lesser program in a footprint just to get the footprint, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
If you can't get a quality program in the footprint, then don't worry about it.
I don't think there are that many candidates that truly make sense. I mean, for the league, it's Oklahoma makes sense. I've heard people mention Kansas because of its basketball product making sense. I'm not sure that I buy it. I do buy Oklahoma. I think the SEC would love to add Oklahoma. I think the SEC would love to. I mean, ideally, they'd go add North Carolina and Virginia and be done with it. I don't think that's realistic. There's been a lot of talk about North Carolina State over the years. I don't know whether they can get out of the ACC contract. The same holds with Virginia Tech. I've heard West Virginia, which makes a lot of sense because when the Big 12 blows up, they're going to get out of that. West Virginia, does it do anything for the SEC? I don't know. I don't know. Not a lot, frankly. It doesn't exactly stir my soul. So I don't really know how many candidates are out there unless you're talking about just total conference chaos where.
And you're not worried about geography at all.
Right, where everything just completely blows up. And quite frankly, if you're Ole Miss and Mississippi State and schools like that, you're not cheering for that because there's no telling what would happen to you. But the SEC's not breaking up, and it might. I still think it adds. I think it adds Oklahoma and somebody when the Big 12 grant of rights goes away. But I don't know if you listened to some of the interviews that I did at SEC Media Days. I think it was Owen Buchanan. He said in the end, Texas and OU are going to try to figure out a way, he thinks, to keep this thing together because they make all the money off of it.
I'm about to look this up. I don't know the answer. I'm just kind of posing the question. What does the Longhorn Network make for Texas at this point?
I don't know. But the problem is everyone knows that the ESPN is going to shut that down.
It's not viable for them.
So it's been great for Texas. The people that are like, oh, Texas really made a mistake, man. No, they didn't. They didn't lose any money. They might have made a long-term mistake. But Texas is such an attractive product that they're going to – I mean, if the Big 12 dissolves and Texas is a free agent –
everybody going to go to the table at least.
Yeah, it's going to have its choice, Pac-12, Big 10, SEC, whatever. ACC.
A&M would throw, out of all the schools we mentioned, A&M would throw the biggest fit of anyone out of the Florida, South Carolina group to not let somebody in inside their state. I mean, they would lose their minds over Texas.
Justifiably.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't blame them a bit. Because, that worm's kind of turned a little bit. When it first happened and A&M joined the league, they were the one who was like, hey, we'll still play or whatever. Texas was like, no, we're going to take our ball and go home, go ahead and have a good time in the SEC. And then it sort of turned. Then Texas was kind of like, hey, let's do it. Let's do whatever. And A&M was like, hey, no, we're in the league now. We're not doing it. So they've sort of been a little bit of, Texas is still Texas. A&M is still a cult. But there's been a little bit of transfer of power there.
Yeah, A&M's a better football program.
Yeah.
A healthier athletic program.
Yeah.
Because of the SEC. Look at the Texas A&M schedule every year. It's still fairly new to their fans. Alabama and Auburn and LSU and Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Florida sometimes and Georgia sometimes.
And Texas plays Iowa State and Kansas.
Yeah. And Baylor and stuff.
Yeah. So. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float down option. And we'll let you know that rates are the lowest they've been in about 2 years. So maybe time to talk to Jason, see if he can help you out if you've refinanced or bought during that time period. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
The podcast is also brought to you by Dead Soxy. It's summertime, and you want to save your feet and your shoes from making their own impression. So step into summer with some no-shows from Dead Soxy. You really need to experience the difference a quality sock makes. It's the first step in dressing for the job you want, not the job that you have. So go to deadsoxy.com, enter the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. You'll get 30% off all orders, including sale items. The no-shows are the same quality that you love and enjoy with their traditional dress sock, and they come with the no-slip guarantee. So again, deadsoxy.com. Check out the no-show collection. Remember to enter promo code Rebel Grove at checkout for 30% off all orders. Football season is getting closer and closer. You don't want to miss 1 minute of the action at the Vault this season as Ole Miss football arrives September the 7th. First game against Arkansas. Reserve your season tickets with the new 2019 season ticket pricing for just $299. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. If you don't want to wait, and you probably don't, you shouldn't. Wait until football season to get fitted for your pair of Blue Delta jeans. They're on the road this week. You can catch up with them. They'll be in Pebble Beach today. Then on Tuesday, they'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wednesday, Blue Delta jeans will be in Oklahoma City. And then Thursday and Friday, they'll be in Texas, in Houston, and then San Angelo, Texas. A date to keep in mind, next Friday, August the 9th, Blue Delta jeans will be in Nashville. I know we have a lot of listeners in the Nashville area, so if you want to learn more, make an appointment to get fitted. Go to info@bluedeltajeans.com. Send them an email, info@bluedeltajeans.com, or send them a direct message on Twitter or Instagram. They're at Blue Delta Jeans.
So they go from Pebble Beach to Tulsa in a one-day period. That seems like a bit of a change of scenery.
You know what? Tulsa's a sneaky, cool town. It's one of the richest towns in America.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to Tulsa.
Lots and lots of oil money.
Okay. What is there to do in Tulsa?
I don't know. I can get the president of their Chamber of Commerce on our show. We could talk about it.
We haven't even got the Dubuque guy yet. We got to wait. We got to get Dubuque before we go Tulsa.
I can get Tulsa's.
We can't have two random Midwestern cities.
I can get Tulsa's Chamber of Commerce president on this show at whenever you'd like.
Moment's notice, huh?
Yep.
Okay. I saw go ahead.
Really successful. I mean, some of us are not, but a lot are. So there. We didn't all fail.
Yeah. Oh, shut up. So we've got a story in the Ringer that I found interesting. You can actually spin local a little bit. Reading that major league teams are potentially going to start switching pitchers mid-counts more than they ever have before. That strategy is finally coming out with analytics to prove why it makes sense, and frankly, taking after the college game, because college does that a whole lot more. John Cohen is quoted in this story from the Ringer talking about it, but it says that slowly but surely, it looks like major league teams are starting to get to that point of doing it, mid-count pitcher changing.
Oh, good. Just drag it out a little.
You don't like it?
Not really.
Cohen's quote on that fact, actually, said, quote, "If it was a televised game, there was criticism. There was always criticism of doing it. The funny thing is the criticism never had any form of logic behind it. It was always, that's not baseball. Well, what the hell does that mean? The old-timers always go into, that's not real baseball. Well, what is real baseball? What does that mean? There are things that have always bothered me. Those things have always bothered me."
I mean, I agree with him about when people do well, that's not real baseball. Well, what I'm with him completely. What the hell does that mean? It's just nothing bogs a game down more. And I'm just talking about from a viewing perspective, not from the purity of the game and all that crap. Nothing bogs the game down more than like 8 pitching changes in the 7th and 8th inning.
Do you think it makes sense?
Sure. Change the look for the hitter. Give him less time to adjust. Sure, I can see it.
Okay.
With all the different, and now you have so many people who throw hard and really hard and throw quote off speed stuff hard. It's hard to hit. So you make it even harder if a hitter can't really prepare for an at bat with one pitcher in mind, knowing that another guy could be coming in that has a completely different release point, lets the ball go differently, throws harder, throws lighter, throws whatever. Yeah, I see it.
We got the last couple days here before this thing really picks up into football all the time. So I do have a question, because if not, I'm never going to ask this. I was talking to a buddy this morning, and we were discussing Bill Simmons and his podcast, because he's kind of been on a little bit of a heater lately. They did a Top Gun rewatchable. We talk about all their stuff. We had to talk about Kevin Costner being on his show and telling some For Love of the Game stories on Friday. He has trended very hard over the last few years to NBA pretty much year-round. Gotten away from what made his name, which was baseball, which was Red Sox, Yankees, which was all that stuff kind of there in the early part of the 2000s and the late 99s. Wrote his first book on that. Does that say more about the NBA, or does that say more about baseball, where it just doesn't move a dial anymore, to where one of the people who completely made his career off of it only does it situationally at this point?
Well, I think first you do have to give credit to the NBA. First and foremost, they have built a product. It's the only product that rivals the NFL for being talkable all year. A lot of that is because the players are, the elite players are so good, and they've allowed player movement. There's a lot of player movement. It's been, as much as everyone talks about the Warriors, it's been pretty competitive. Teams get to the playoffs. There's a lot of storylines, all that stuff. And over the last however long, we've been watching one of the 5 best players ever play the game. So we've been in one of those eras that was similar to when Jordan played, and everything was compared to Jordan. Now everything compares to LeBron. We're just now getting to the end of the LeBron James era, and he had one hell of an era. So that's a lot of it. And then we've talked about this a lot of times. Baseball's just, there was a stat yesterday. I was watching Cubs Brewers, and I don't even remember the stat. It was seasons with, it was a certain number of home runs and walks and RBI and something in a season. And there were like 5 guys in the majors that had done that 5 years in a row. And it was Mike Trout and Edwin Encarnacion and Anthony Rizzo and somebody else, a couple other guys. And I thought, how many of those guys, so elite major league players, how many of those guys would even be recognizable? The answer is none. Basically none. And I don't know why that is. I mean, there's a lot of people at baseball games. Although I'll say this, yesterday I was flipping because I was out grilling and stuff, and the Cubs game ended. I flipped to the end of the Cardinals game, and then I just started flipping, and I ended up watching the end of the Orioles and the Angels. I wasn't really watching, but it was on, and I had the Angels broadcast on, and the Angels won on a walk-off. Chase, there was nobody there. There was nobody at that game.
I actually was watching the exact same game. I saw the end of it. I saw the walk-off. It's too expensive. I mean, I know we're going in circles, whatever, but it just...
It is.
It's too expensive, and there's 81 of them.
Yeah, I mean, Carson and I went to 3, and I was like thinking at the end of it, man, I'm glad this is over because I don't want to pay for another one.
It's the biggest to me. I mean, to me, it's the biggest detriment because A, you need a lot of freaking people. Baseball stadiums are big. And 2, it's just, there's so many, and it's so expensive. So many other things to do.
Yeah, but the players we've talked about this before. I don't know why it is. I keep waiting for someone smarter, much smarter than me, which is not hard, but to come up with some reason that when I was a kid, when I was Carson's age, he's 12. When I was 12, there were multiple baseball superstars. Everyone knew who the guys were. You know what's funny? And those games weren't on TV. You couldn't. When I was 12, that was the first year that I could watch the Braves every day and I could watch the Cubs every day. Before that, I got the NBC game of the week. I got Monday Night Baseball, which went away as soon as football season started. And I got the postseason. And the postseason was nothing more than the 2 championship series and the World Series. And baseball was much bigger then than it is now. And now I can watch virtually every game of any team that I decide I want to watch. If I want to watch the Seattle Mariners and I commit myself to it, I can do it. I hadn't figured it out. And I think the players today are better than they've ever been. The game's played at a higher level than it's ever been played. Outside of Arizona and St. Louis, would Paul Goldschmidt be recognized anywhere? He's a hell of a baseball player.
No, 0.
Outside of Miami and Milwaukee, would anyone recognize Christian Yelich?
Probably not.
He's a superstar. Outside of Los Angeles, would anyone recognize Cody Bellinger?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Cody Bellinger. Look up his numbers. He's probably the best player in baseball today, not named Mike Trout. Would anyone recognize him? Chris Bryant, in 2016, won the MVP, won the World Series with one of the most storied / tragic whatever franchises in Major League Baseball. Obviously, he's a superstar in Chicago. Really nowhere else. When I was a kid, had Chris Bryant done that for the Cubs in 1982, he would have been a national superstar. He would have been on all the beer commercials, the Coke commercials, everything. I don't know why that is.
Some of it is just the pie is so big. I mean, the pie is only so big. There's only so much time. There's only so much attention. The NFL is such a giant. The NBA is at least bigger than it's been from a media standpoint. You've got...
That's what I'm getting ready to say.
It's a fringe. There's so many fringe sports that for people who are interested in those fringe sports, they become 1A for those people. Jeffrey and I for golf. You know what I mean? Like... There's just you're not able to squeeze enough juice out of the orange to get down to that number 4 spot. There's not enough time.
Oh, I agree with that completely. I think to answer your question, the whole long-winded Bill Simmons thing is that basketball has, in terms of
has more drama too. It's something to talk about every day.
Mainstream interest. NBA has passed Major League Baseball. Now, someone's going to come back with some regional TV ratings and stuff, and you're diluting the point. Mainstream, there's a reason that ESPN's talking heads, even in July, are yelling and screaming about the NBA and not Major League Baseball. There's a reason, and it's because of the numbers. It's the reason they yelled and screamed about Tim Tebow forever. It wasn't because people really cared that much about Tim Tebow. It was because for a while there, he drew numbers. Tiger Woods, whoever it is, there's a reason they always beat the same notes. And they don't talk about baseball. They're talking about basketball, NFL. The NFL doesn't start until September the 7th. That's the first time they play a game. And yet there's mass coverage of NFL training camps. They're covering practice, as Allen Iverson would say.
Yeah. Every day now.
Hardcore.
Football will lead pretty much every day through February now. It's here.
Yeah. Yeah, and the NBA, give the NBA a ton of credit. They wait till Christmas when football's just about done. In fact, what they do is they're really smart about it. I give them a ton of credit. They take their Christmas day, then they kind of back off a little bit, let the NFL have January for the playoffs. And when the playoffs end, they jump in, and the end of their season's usually pretty dramatic. Their playoffs are extremely well done. Even people who hate the NBA will admit that.
I still contend they're too long.
They are long, but that's their season. And then as soon as their season's over, boom, all the off-season drama. And it gets into about the middle of July. And then the NFL takes off, and they back off. It's genius. Their shows are great. The Barkley show and all that stuff is great. Shaq, Barkley, Kenny Smith. You have all those guys. I can name basketball analysts. You can't even name baseball people. I mean, who are the people? I know who they are, but the general fan doesn't.
Yeah, Jeff Bassan is not a household name.
I'll give you an example. Cubs and Cardinals play tomorrow night in St. Louis, tied for first place in the National League Central. The Brewers one game behind them. One game. So 3 teams separated by one game. Outside of Chicago, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, those games will not resonate. What will NFL training camps? NFL training camps will destroy whatever ratings those games get outside of Chicago and St. Louis and Milwaukee.
Sticking on baseball for 1 second, am I missing something, or was that really dumb, the Mets picking up Marcus Stroman? They're not good enough to give up 2 of their top 7 prospects for a guy who's going to be a free agent again after 2020. They gave up their number 6 and number 7 prospects in their system for Stroman.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing unless this is the pathway to trading both Wheeler and Syndergaard.
At least one are going to be gone for sure, because now they're very unlikely to sign Wheeler to any kind of extension.
Well, if you're not signing Wheeler to an extension, you should trade him. And if you're not going to keep Syndergaard long term, you should trade him. Before his arm snaps off mid-pitch.
Yeah.
Look, Brody Van Wegener, or whatever his name is, was a really good agent. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're a really good baseball front office person.
No, he's been a bad one so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a disaster. And he's, for whatever reason, unwilling to concede that, hey, we're not winning this thing. And they are the 4th best on a good day franchise in that division. Atlanta's passed them, and there's no sign that they can catch Atlanta in the next 5 years. The Phillies have passed them. The Nationals have passed them. There's no sign that the Mets can catch Washington or Philadelphia at any point in the next 5 years.
Yeah, have fun with the Marlins. Who cares?
Yeah, but you're in New York, and so you feel like you can't do a rebuild. And the truth is you can. You just have to be transparent.
Well, they're just delaying the rebuilds, all they're doing.
Yeah, and Stroman apparently was not happy about the trade. I don't know if you heard about this, but in the blue, they had to basically kind of hold the media off because they informed Stroman of the deal after it was over. And while no one knows for sure it was him that was creating the chaos, there apparently was chaos inside the clubhouse loud enough that the media could hear it outside in the tunnel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And for everything I've seen, the media has reported it pretty responsibly by saying, don't know who it was, but we can tell you something. Yeah.
Huh.
Stuff being thrown and stuff like that.
Oh, good. All right. Podcast brought to you in part by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but a lot more as well. Custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paper patios, forestry mulching, and much more. And path to your dream backyard easier than you think with Master Cuts. That's GoMasterCuts.com, or you can get a free quote by calling them at 662-607-7773.
Marcus, you're headed to New York. Yes, to the Mets. The podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They have advisors in 3 states. They do a lot of things. For the individual, they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning, and much more. And for businesses, they have the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services. Basically, if you are running a business and your 401k plan is underperforming, get in touch with Pinnacle Trust. They'll diagnose it, and that diagnosis will be that initial consultation is free. It's complimentary. You can get a no obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Can't beat that. And if you tell the people at Pinnacle Trust that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast, you'll get 10% off your first year's fees. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Podcast also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. I'll have a mailbag up on Wednesday. I'll start taking questions today. That mailbag's brought to you by the Westin Jackson, where you can visit Soul Spa and restore some serenity to your soul. And you can also head to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro and sip on a creative, craft cocktail, or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch there inside the Westin Jackson. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. A lot of you have taken advantage of our relationship with John. You heard about John. You've booked trips. Some of you have booked some trips that I'm really jealous of. Alaska, Italy, all over Europe. Head down to the beach, Greenbrier. There's a lot of people have done different things. People have headed to the West Coast. And John has hooked you up with, travel opportunities that are difficult to find if you don't have connections like the ones that he has with Virtuoso, which is a worldwide network of travel partners, which let him supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. Get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll give you options, and no, you don't have to live anywhere near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
It is obviously July. They do not play a game for several months, but anything out of the basketball interviews that happened toward the end of the week, you and I have not discussed it.
Not a lot. A lot of this is in. There's a lot of stuff in 10 Thoughts. Yeah. By the way,
videos up on the site as well.
Videos up on the site. Had some additional notes in 10 Thoughts. They moved the 3-point line back, so Kermit Davis talked about how they'll have to adjust to that. They and everyone else. He thinks shooting percentages will drop at first and then creep back up as players get used to it. I agree. I do like the move to move the line back. I think it will create a little more spacing and a little more.
Is it the NBA line?
No, it's the international line.
Okay.
Which is somewhere.
Why do we have so many different lines? I don't understand. Same game.
Why
can't we get uniform on this?
Yeah, I think we're getting closer now. The college line was always too short.
But why does the NBA and the international have a different line?
International line's always kind of been what it's been, and the NBA is always, because they want it to be harder, it's been a little deeper.
Okay.
But
it just kind of bugs me. It'd be like, well, in college, we're going to pitch from 58 feet. Well,
yeah, but that was it'd be the college deciding to pitch from 58 feet. When the NCAA put that line in, that's on them. The line is always too short. It needed to get backed up. It will create more driving lanes because it will force people to defend further out. The college game had gotten congested, frankly.
Does it do anything? I mean, I know the answer is probably not, but does it do anything at all as far as adjusting the way you want your roster to look?
Not really.
Okay.
Nope, not really.
Okay.
Kermit's going to try to get his kind of guys. He's going to try to get these hard-nosed guys that can really defend and play hard, and that's his calling card. That's his deal. If you're Eric Musselman, for example, at Arkansas, and who likes to get up and down the floor and run, you're still going to get athletic guys who can get up the floor and run. I thought it was interesting. I'm using them as an example because I just watched an interview with him the other day. they've been practicing this summer with just the NBA line. He wants his guys to expand their range. So everyone's going to do it different ways. There's no right way, no wrong way. We'll see what works.
Brian was the other player, or the player available.
Yeah,
say that.
Brian had some interesting things to say. He had gone to Chris Paul's camp, I guess last week, and talked about how he was sort of inspired by Chris Paul's work ethic, just watching him work. And then he talked about how seeing the success that Terrence Davis had, getting the deal with the Raptors, has obviously been a motivating thing for him. And Kermit Davis talked about how that's going to help the team because it's motivating to the guys on the team, and it's going to obviously help the program because they, as we have documented here on this Potato Log podcast many times, they desperately need an NBA presence. Desperately.
We haven't discussed Terrence since the day that it happened, the week that it happened. What does his opportunity look like in Toronto? I mean, they're obviously in a little bit of a change with Kawhi Leonard gone.
Danny Green's gone. That's the big thing. Him is more than Kawhi being gone. Danny Green's gone. He's going to have an opportunity to play. They want him to play. This is as much of an opportunity for him. I mean, as much of an opportunity for the Raptors to evaluate Terrence as it is for Terrence to win an NBA job. It's a great fit. It's a fantastic organization. It's one of the best run organizations in the league. It's a tremendous opportunity for him. It's a team that just won a title. They're not going to win a title. It's a decent chance that by the trade deadline they'll be looking to move Kyle Lowry and probably Mark Gasol, and they're going to build around OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam, and so they're going to be looking for guys who they can use as cheaper building blocks around them, and that's Terrence. And Terrence had a great offseason as a 3-and-D guy. That's his role. He obviously is very athletic. He can drive. His shot looks better now than it's ever looked, and he's defending at a pretty high level. And so, like Kermit said the other day, it's a great story. We'll see what happens. He's going to get a real chance. It's not like he were playing for the Clippers or something next season where there wouldn't be many minutes for him and he'd get lost in the shuffle. He's not going to get lost in the shuffle in all likelihood. He's going to get a real opportunity to play and earn a role, and I'm sure they would love nothing more than for him to be a 6th, 7th man off the bench long term at a place like that. You know, and they've had success with an undrafted free agent in Fred VanVleet, and you know now they've got Terrence, and God, they would love for him to have a VanVleet type of career arc, and I'm sure Terrence would too.
Are they still a playoff team?
Yeah, they're a playoff team. If they want to be.
Okay, fair enough.
They might decide middle of the year that that's not the path to take, that they can get assets for Lowry and
because it's clearly Bucks Sixers, right, in the East?
Yeah. It's those two teams are the prohibitive favorites in that side, and then there's a kind of a logjam of teams: the Raptors, the Pacers, maybe even the Celtics, the Hawks, some teams that are coming. But yeah, Bucks, Sixers are the two best teams, but Toronto's good. I mean, if they hold on to Gasol and Ibaka and Lowry, they'll still be a playoff team. They're not obviously the team that they were when they had Kawhi Leonard, or even the team that they were when they had DeMar DeRozan, but that's where a guy like Terrence gets a real opportunity.
I saw some really early metrics, it was talking to scouts and coaches in the NBA about next season and just some predictions. I think there were 16 votes, and 13 of the 16 picked the Clippers to win the NBA title. I think I saw that correctly.
Look, they were really good last year. with no star power. They did as good of a job last year with virtually no star power as they became a fun team to watch. And it was Lou Williams and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari, and they've really upgraded obviously with Kawhi and Paul George, and they've got a really solid team. Martrez Harrell, they're good. I don't know that I'd make them that prohibitive of a favorite even in the West, because I like Utah's team and I like Denver's team, and Houston's going to be interesting with Westbrook and Harden, and the Lakers. That is LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the same team, and if DeMarcus Cousins comes back as 70% of what he was before he got hurt, they'll be a force. But yeah, here's the thing with it's the funny thing about the NBA. God, we're going to get crucified for talking so much NBA today. Let the record show that Chase asked for this.
I'm navigating. Go ahead.
What's interesting about the Clippers in a playoff series, when possessions become so important, is the Clippers can put 3 of the top 6 to 8 defenders in the league on the court at the same time. Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
I had it a little off, so here's what I found the story. It's again, it's talking to just NBA people, it's scouts, coaches, whatever, and it says there's 20 votes available. Who will be the conference champions and the NBA champion? In the East, Milwaukee got 12 of the 20 votes. Philadelphia got the other 8. In the West, the Clippers got 16 of the 20 to win the West. The Nuggets got 2. The Jazz got 1. The Rockets got 1. And then the NBA title, Clippers 13 of the 20. Bucks 2 of the 20, Sixers 2 of the 20, Jazz 1, Nuggets 1, Rockets 1. That's what it was.
And that's good parity. That's why the league's entertaining. And that's even before you talk about some of the teams that are going to be really fun to watch. New Orleans is going to be fun to watch. Are they winning a title? No. But they're going to be fun to watch.
Can we give 13 of 20 votes to one team and call it parity?
Yeah, especially when that team got bounced in the first round last year.
Okay. Because if you know the NFL season right now, you're probably going to have 8 teams get a vote. And I get the playoffs are different. I understand all that.
So what NFL teams realistically today on July the 29th, if they say, hey, our goal is to win the Super Bowl, you can say that's something other than hyperbolic.
Well, for sure, the 4 that played in the conference finals last year. So Patriots, Rams, Chiefs, and Saints.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that.
Agreed.
Bears.
Okay.
Falcons. They're better.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's a little bit of a reach, but it's fair in my opinion.
Okay.
Chargers.
No. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe. There.
Seattle?
Maybe. I think there is an AFC North team that will be a contender. I don't even know which one yet. I'm just saying I think that if the Browns have taken that step, maybe the Ravens are good, something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think any of those teams can realistically say, hey, we're going to compete for the Super Bowl.
Okay. The other one that might do it is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. And Minnesota could probably say it.
I mean, look, quick turnarounds happen in the NFL all the time. The Vikings seemed like a very good but very flawed team last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they went 8-7-1 for goodness sake last year.
Yeah, I thought the Bears were head and shoulders better than them a year ago.
They were. I mean, the NFC races were bad last year. The Rams were never threatened. The Saints won the division by 6 games. The Bears won the division going away by 3.5 games.
See, this is why I'm having a hard time with the Falcons.
The Falcons went 7-9 last season.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing
You would buy the Seahawks before you bought the Falcons.
Oh, I'd buy the Seahawks.
The problem with the Seahawks is they're going to have to go through the wild card because they're not winning the West.
I might buy the Cowboys before I bought
the
Falcons.
Really?
because there's no team in the Cowboys division that you look at and go, ooh.
Well, now all three of those teams are not even getting into the playoffs. So
Right.
Because I do feel like and again, this is famous last words. I get that. Teams get NFL first place schedules and struggle and whatever. But in theory here, going into the season, you have to feel really good about the Bears, Saints, and Rams' chances to win their divisions.
Yeah, the Bears' schedule is hard.
Well, I mean, it's the same as the Saints' schedule. They both have to play each other and the Rams.
Difference is the Saints have a proven quarterback and the Bears don't. Big season for Mitch Trubisky, his career arc, one way or the other. This is a pivotal year. But yeah, I guess my point, it's what makes the NFL great, right? Is that you can talk about this many teams having a shot.
How stunned would you be if the Colts were in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you wouldn't be stunned.
Now, I'd be stunned if anybody out of the East other than the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. But
yeah, because that's how that works. But
yeah.
But if in college football, and I'm not trying to belittle the college game, but there's less parity. If I say today, what teams open camp this week with a realistic chance of winning the national title? It's Alabama, Clemson, maybe Georgia, maybe Ohio State, just because it's the Big Ten, whatever. Maybe Oklahoma. That's about it. 100-something teams, and 5 have a chance to win the title, and we're stretching it.
The reason college football works, though, is that it's okay to have an expectation below that.
Of course, sure.
You know what I mean?
It's not
there's a group that, hey, just get into the college football playoff, or then there's a group of, hey, just get into an Access Bowl, or there's the group that goes, hey, just go 8-4 and avoid going to Memphis. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
And then, for Ole Miss, they go 6-6. Most people go, okay, good job.
Oh, if Ole Miss went 8-4,
and
went to the fill in the blank bowl,
Houston Nuts first year.
Yeah, they went 8-4, right?
They went 8-4, then 9-4.
Yeah, they go to the Cotton Bowl and fairly convinced the entire state of Mississippi was there. It's as close as Budweiser's ever come to just being put out of business because they just ran out of product. So yeah, it's exactly why it works. But that's what's interesting is baseball has the same kind of parity and nobody gives a damn.
Yeah. I don't have an answer, but anyway.
And I'll tell you what's interesting with baseball is we're just kind of jumping around today.
Yeah, it's fine. We got a few more days of this.
If you read about it, and I'll put this story, it was in 10 Thoughts down at the bottom. Thought number 10 is always a bunch of links and stuff, and I put this link in. Go read it. It's kind of about the Game of Thrones kind of playing out with the MLB Players Association. They appear absolutely headed towards a strike after the 21 season. A work stoppage. I don't think that's in their best interest.
No, not at all. I think it would be an absolute disaster.
I'm not sure that going away in April of 2022 is in the best interest of the Major League Baseball players or the owners. I'm not sure all that many people would miss them.
It took a roided up home run race to get everybody back in 98 after the 94 strike.
I know. I mean, you go away full circle in our conversation. You in today's news cycle, seriously, think about this. We're going to get to Ole Miss football at the end of the week, I promise. Think about this storyline. First week of April 2022, the Major League Baseball season doesn't begin as scheduled because the players are on strike. Okay. We've got the NBA regular season winding down. Playoffs are coming. You've got the 2022 draft is in 4 weeks. We've got Mel Kiper just updated his big board, baby. And the college basketball season's in the Final Four. And everybody's brackets up for grabs because Virginia Tech made the Final Four.
Yeah.
In other words, who cares? Nobody even notices. And you have the Masters. Get the Masters that week.
So by the time that everybody wakes up, they go, oh, yeah, all right, cool. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. And by the time anybody goes, well, kind of miss baseball, it's like, well, now the draft is 10 days away and the playoffs just started. And that Clippers-Rockets first-round series is going to be must-watch television. Giannis Antetokounmpo's with the Knicks in his first year, and they're in the playoffs. And you can't get a ticket to the Garden. None of that's unrealistic. Baseball just...
Well, and final thought on it, too. You mentioned all the ways the NBA, their schedule and their calendar is very fortuitous that, nobody could have envisioned when it first got put into decades ago. Baseball doesn't have that luxury. They play their most important games in the middle of football season, where you're just stuck.
Yeah.
You're competing against all these football games, and you're never going to win.
Certainly not marketed the way that they've marketed.
Yeah. So.
You've got to you got to say, hey, we're competing against the king. We're going to have to come up with something different.
I told this story All-Star break when I turned on the introductions. And she's not completely sports illiterate by any stretch of my imagination. My wife had no idea who Mike Trout was. Zero. No idea. Who does he play for? What does he do? Nothing.
I know. Meanwhile, if I were to say to the same group of people, hey, who does Cam Newton play for?
Get it right every time.
Cam Newton's a good quarterback. But he's not one of the best five.
No.
But if I say, who does Aaron Rodgers play for? Oh, my God. Everybody knows Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, who's not even playing anymore.
You go down the list. Russell Wilson.
Yeah. National superstars.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M right there on South Lamar in Oxford. They deliver local to your home or workplace, and they offer MedSync. So they fill all your prescriptions on the same day of the month, every single month, making only one trip, only one delivery, and get the medicine you need when you need it. Speaking of when you need it, someone telling you about Sildenafil and the 15-minute quickie pills. Get you ready fast if that is something that you so desire. 662-236-2222. And you can go to those websites, TysonDrugs.com, GandMPharmacy.com. You just click product request. If you'd like a little discretion, you do it right there online. Don't even have to talk to anybody, and they will take care of you. So again, that number one more time, 662-236-2222.
Podcast also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. If you're in the market for one, get in touch with Gene and Sandy. If they don't have it on their lot, they'll get it on their lot. You'll love it. I've done business with them for more than a decade. They're great people, great service. It's a great car dealership. You'll love doing business with them as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Chase mentioned 10 Weekend Thoughts earlier. They're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square, which is a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square. It's conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. Savannah Square will initially consist of 32 standalone homes ranging in size from about 1,100 to about 2,400 square feet. The model home is available for your inspection at 215 William Street. You can check out the wonderful layouts, the impeccable finishes, which are available to you. Get in touch with Harry, 662-801-5621, or check out the website, savannahsquareoxford.com. The Oxford Park Commission currently registering for youth flag football and the fall baseball season. Leagues are open for ages 6 to 12 in football, 6 to 15 in baseball. The cost to sign up for football is $500. It's $50. $50 for football, $40 for the fall baseball. Each sport will be played at beautiful FNC Park. For more details, visit oxfordparkcommission.com. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. And when you call OUB, you speak directly with a live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5-minute wait. What they is Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with it, customers pay 2.5% interest. OUB pays 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refunds ATM fees nationwide. To learn more about Kasasa and all of the other things that are offered at OUB, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. I don't know if you saw this, Chase, but our boy Dan Wolken was back at it, this time taking a shot at Danny White, and UCF. Danny White pushed back. And so we'll give Dan Wolken, I think this will be, let's see, number...
Are we at the Hall of Fame point now? Like, is it one of those point systems where if you get so many points over doing so many things, you get into the Crap Take Hall of Fame?
He's the Mike Trout of the Crap Take of the day.
Okay.
He's Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr., Mariano Rivera kind of territory. It's brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pet stuff. Bringing that stuff inside the house is a nightmare. Scoopers will take care of it. They'll go into your backyard, apartment complex, or condominium and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. For $10 a cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts are required. You can cancel at any time, and if you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a condo or an apartment complex in Oxford and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers 662-506-2754 or send them an email, scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com to get your cleanings scheduled today. And we mentioned Ole Miss football. If you haven't made your tailgating plans just yet, it's okay. Fret not. Get in touch with 7 South Tailgating. They're owned and operated by husband-wife duo Kyle and Jordan Thornton, both Ole Miss alums and Oxford locals. But what started as a great way to pay for college has become the greatest tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. The team at 7 South are rebels through and through. They take pride in the Grove and the impact their service has on protecting, preserving, and enriching the Ole Miss game day tailgating tradition. Call them at 662-321-1682 or visit 7southtailgating.com.
We had that conversation the other day about has the modern day movie star, if you will, kind of become extinct. Somebody had this on Twitter, I think, or an email, and really, really a good one. In today's world, The Rock might be one of your top couple movie stars.
Probably so.
Just complete brand management, everything that he does, and he's done a pretty good job in movies.
He's got an Under Armour brand, too. Did you know that?
I did not know it was Under Armour related, but yes, I knew he had something along those lines. He also apparently is big into tequila and products and whatnot.
Can't fault him there.
Yeah. Big into tequila.
Yeah. No, good for him.
I've had a buddy trying to shift me over to tequila the last couple weeks. Still can't take the plunge.
I like tequila a lot.
Yeah, it just doesn't... Jeffrey and I both agreed. It just doesn't agree with us.
Makes you do crazy things?
No, not really that. Just not. It does not hit my palate well. Maybe I've had bad tequila. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know, but just not a fan.
I love a good mezcal. Kind of smoky. Love it.
Yeah, that's hard to get around here though.
It is.
Frankly, because not enough people buy it, so there's no reason for liquor store owners to order it.
I've found a couple places. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
So I don't want people taking my mezcal.
Well, but the more people that buy the mezcal, the more mezcal that gets ordered, Neil.
Well, I have to think about this.
There's a certain supply and demand thing where if a number of people will do it, then we get more of it. It's like if you just really like Maker's Mark, but nobody else drank bourbon at all. Well, we would not get any other kind of bourbons. We would just keep getting your dusty bottles off the bottom of the shelf.
That's true. That's a good point.
Okay. Just throwing that out there. But there's a few. I mean, I actually got more feedback on a movie star topic than anything else we've done other than the murder case the last couple of weeks. But, yeah, The Rock stuck out to me. I thought, I would have never have thought of that, but probably is accurate.
He's a really large person, too, which is usually not the case for like movie stars. They're usually pretty small people.
Yeah, short.
Yeah.
A lot of movie stars are very short. Sylvester Stallone, Tom Cruise.
Ryan
Gosling probably counts.
Yeah. How tall is Ryan Gosling?
I don't know. Hold on. Let's see. Great pod on a Monday, really kicking off the week. We're kind of enjoying our final 3 days before we have to talk about one specific thing. He is 6 foot tall.
Huh.
He is 6 foot.
So I can say I'm taller than Ryan Gosling. It's the only thing that I am more than Ryan Gosling, but I can say
You
that.
are balder than Ryan Gosling.
I am balder and taller than Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling is 38 years old, and he is 6 foot and a half.
Ah.
And he has been married to Eva Mendes since 2011.
Yeah, big deal.
Yes.
Look what he weighs.
I do not
160.
have his weight. I only have his height.
What would you guess? About 160 pounds?
It's 6 foot. Do you think it's that low?
He's awfully lean.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. I have no idea if this is right whatsoever. It says he is around 6'1" and around 180 pounds. That's all I got.
Huh. 180. Pretty lean.
You gonna buy that?
Yeah, I can buy that because he's got a lot of muscle. I can see 180.
Actually, here I found something a little more precise. It says 6 foot 172.
Okay.
Yeah. Just saying.
Not carrying a lot of body fat on that frame.
Married to Eva Mendes. Let's see. Has dated Olivia Wilde, Blake Lively, Rachel McAdams, and Sandra Bullock.
He's had a nice run.
Yeah. I didn't think we were going here today, but there it is. So, congratulations, everybody.
Yep.
Again, just a few more days. That's what it is. All right, let's see. Anything else as we're wrapping up? We'll have the coverage Thursday, by the way, will be much later in the day. It's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, something like that. So don't get up Thursday morning expecting lots of content. It will probably be more of a Thursday afternoon into Friday morning kind of deal toward the end of the week. Just a little heads up there.
The media opportunity is Tuesday afternoon. I think it's Matt, and then we get players and stuff after that. It's the last time we talk to anybody until Monday, so we won't just vomit the information.
So just a little heads up there, more than anything else. But we'll have some guests as the week goes on. Go ahead.
We get a brief opportunity to watch the stretching portion of practice on Friday, and but there's no media opportunity after that. So
it's simply an observation period.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said this in 10 Thoughts, and I'm going to say it with my own voice so that people don't think that I'm making fun of people. There will be a lot of stuff that comes out with observations and 100 observations from practice. This frustrates fans, and I kind of understand it to a degree. We're not going to see enough practice to really be able to make anything other than observations that are sure to be wrong. Other than health, like we'll be able to tell you, hey, someone looks to be running around well. I know everybody goes, what about depth charts where people are lined up? The problem with doing those, and we'll probably take some stabs at them. Everybody does the depth chart joke, except some people aren't joking. They're really irritated that we're not updating a constant depth chart. Here's why I'm not against them, but hesitant to do them. You put together a depth chart from the 15 to 20 minutes of practice that you saw based on where people went through agility drills.
Or stretch lines.
And then you find out two things. Well, that was a line that was based on seniority. Or, well, I don't know if you noticed, but so-and-so wasn't out at practice at that point. He was inside getting some extra treatment, had to get rewrapped, missed something. You just, there's so many, before you can put that together, questions you have to ask, that it's just almost impossible to really do it. It's not like covering an NFL training camp where the damn thing's just wide open. It's just totally different. And I don't fault them for it. I understand where they're coming from. But it does make, not difficult, because it's a job, but it does make coverage a little problematic if you're not pretty conservative and pretty responsible, which we try to be. And sometimes that frustrates the most ardent of fans because they just want all the information and opinions and stuff that they can get. But it's hard to shape an opinion about a player or a unit or a side of the ball or a team based off the parts of practice that we're going to see.
Yeah. So we'll start that up soon. Again, we'll have some guests and more on this podcast as we start another football season. So appreciate you listening today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.